All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praise to the Most High and His only begotten Son, who we know and believe as Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Ravakak Kodash. Double honors to elder apostles, a great millstone that rule well and that taught me His truth. Peace, love, and blessings also to you sincere laborers out there pushing His truth, you brothers out there on the highways and byways, right, making your bodies a living sacrifice. And also blessings to you few sisters out there listening and learning. Alright. And this is going to be an in transit. And on my way back home. So, Lord's will, through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shemi Shai, this lesson is edifying. Alright, and I was just thinking, pretty much, it all makes sense. These so-called Jews, the elites of this society, due to the act of slavery, all right, because they funded the whole slave trade, the so-called Jews, all right, pursuant to Jeremiah 17 verse 4, it states that thou even thyself shalt discontinue from thy heritage, and I will cause thee to serve thy enemies, pretty much in the land where thou knowest not, for we have kindled a fire in the Lord's anger, which shall burn forever. All right, so the Lord stripped us of our heritage, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, and the way that, as we always go into Deuteronomy 28, verse 15, and all the curses all the way up to verse 68. All right, they all pursued us. These curses pursued us, and that started by the way of kicking us out of the land. Okay. The northern kingdom was the first to leave. All right, they went into Assyrian captivity in 722 BC. Okay. Then later on, in 70 AD, the Romans, all right, pretty much booted us out of Israel. All right, and we fled into mostly Africa, but we fled all over. Okay, mostly Africa. Mostly the West Coast. All right, and then that was the start of that discontinuing from my heritage, man. Like that's like the core of discontinuing from my heritage is by pretty much a complete eviction, man. Moving you out of the land, removing you far from the Lord's sight. The Lord's sight is the land of Israel. That's His favorite portion of land. Okay, so removing us far from the land. And then later, putting us in slavery, and we all familiar with the famous movie scene with Roots, Kuta Kinte, where he was pretty much beating his heritage out of him and giving him an American name, all right, if you will, Toby, from Kunta Kinte to Toby, and he completely beat his heritage out of him, all right. And that's pretty much what happened to us. And anybody caught, speaking that tongue that we once spoke, which was originally Hebrew. Anybody caught speaking Hebrew or using Hebrew names, or and not using your English names and speaking the English tongue, all right, you're pretty much punishable, if not by death, but you were punished. All right, if you cleaved on to your heritage. So that was the way that the Lord caused us to discontinue from my heritage. So before you know it, generation after generation, we completely lost who we were. All right, so we discontinued from my heritage. So the so-called white man, he paid, lots of money to keep this truth from us. And what's the truth? Our identity, man. Pursuant to Ezekiel the 37th chapter. Can these bones live, man? Can these bones live? What? And that's symbolic to us being dead to who we are. Revelation 11 verse 8, it states that our dead bodies shall lie in a great city, which is spiritually called Sodom and Egypt. And it wasn't talking about physically dead. It was talking about spiritually dead. It was in a dead state, man. The scriptures say he that pretty much wonder out of way of understanding is with the congregation of the dead. All right, so to be without understanding is to be likened unto be spiritually dead, man. All right, so what we was spiritually dead because what we lost the understanding of who we are and what we're Israelites, the sons of God, man. So to lose the understanding of that, all right, they paid much money to hide it, to what they call iconoclasm. All right, the Renaissance started during the Renaissance period, the late 1300s, early 1400s. Okay, to pretty much paint the saints of the Most High, paint any images, so-called what they call religious images, right? To paint the apostles to be white, and mostly what Job 9:24, he covered the faces of the judges thereof, if not where and who is he? To cover the face of the one who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ and make him a so-called white man. Okay, so they put all this hard work and labor into keeping us from the truth. Okay, to know that the people of God, the Israelites, were a people of color. To be more specific, they were so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, all right, the people of God, all right? So they paid much money, they put in hard labor to keep that from us. So it all makes sense. And then what? After that, what they did, pursuing the Revelations 2 and 9, which is twofold, the synagogues of Satan, I know thy works in tribulation, but thou art rich, and I know the blasphemy of them which say they are the Jews and are not, but are the synagogue of Satan, all right? So stripped us of our heritage and took upon those names, calling themselves Judah, all right, calling themselves Israelites, Israelis. Okay, it said one shall call himself Jacob, you know, roughly paraphrasing. So they took upon our identity, all right, and put in much hard work and labor to keep it from us. So now here it is. Before, all right, we were awakened at the 60s to the Great Awakening start happening, to this truth really start spreading, all right, to it start coming out. It started small first, but look at it now. It's grown all over it's all over the world, man. Pursuant to Matthew's 24th chapter, and this gospel shall go forth throughout all the world, then shall the end come. All right, so we're everywhere, but then it started small first as a little sanctuary. Okay, then, you know, now we awaken to this, and that's what they tried so hard to keep from us, and it all makes sense. You know, it all makes so much sense that you know the Bible is real. You know, all these good, you know, you got some of our people that be like, so you really think that, you know, they wouldn't hide the Bible from you, and, you know, and hide certain, yeah, they, you know, they did certain attempts to do that, but the point is, we were never supposed to know we're those people. So those things that enlighten us, to tell us we're the greatest people of the world, and we above all nations, and we the chosen people, and that the kingdom is promised to us. You know, when we read that, we, you know, the way they had the so-called white man had set up Esau Edom, is that when we read those things, we would think that those things didn't pertain to us because we didn't know that we were these people. So yes, you know, they would keep the Bible, you know, intact and keep it there, all right, in plain sight. And that's the best way to hide things, in plain sight. You know, because that's the best way to hide things. The best things is hidden in plain sight, man. So, you know, because it's like to work on your psyche, man. All right, you know, to work on your psyche. What I feel, the word is escaping me right now, but you know, to work on your mind, psychology. All right, to work on your mind. They studied that, you know, because what majority of people think is that, nah, you know, the truth or a secret, it wouldn't be right there in front of your face. You know, that's what most people think, you know, and that's, you know, common sense, right? But that reverse psychology, common sense, you know, you would be like, nah, it wouldn't be right there in front of you, but it is. So that reverse psychology, man. You know, they like the scripture say, they done a diligent search, man. They you know, they're wiser than Daniel, man. They you know, they put in much labor, man. All right. So it was actually a miracle for us to wake up and to get this truth. They didn't plan on that happen. See, they put so much work into it that they pretty much reason within themselves like, yo, it will take a miracle. All right. It would take a miracle for these people to wake up. And just that happened, man. All right. Read Revelation, the 5th chapter. Yahweh's sacrifice that he made with his blood, okay, opened the seals of this book so we can get the understanding. All right. And we can start waking up and doing these great works that we're doing now, man. This ministry is greater. This is the greatest thing that ever took place in history. This ministry, man. You know, and the world always wanted to be a part of history, to make a change, to be a part of history. You know. Well, if I be part of the elect, all right, I would do the greatest, be a part of not one of the greatest things that could have ever took place in history, the Israelites, man. All right, because if, as we know in the book of Daniel, how I speak about that little rock that came and pretty much smoked the toe and took down a whole statue. That statue was a representation of all the, not of all, but the main, pretty much empires of the world, man. All right. So that's history. So this little rock to come and take down that whole statue to subdue all the nations, as I say in Revelations, he had all the crowns of the kings. Okay, that little rock. All right. Took down all the kingdoms, man. That's nobody's ever done that in history like that, man. Especially the way the Lord's finna do it. The Lord's finna do it all in one day, man. The Lord finna destroy America in 1 hour. All right. No kingdom has done that. It was a series of wars. All right. Of drawn out wars back and forth. You know, no nation has. When Alexander, as powerful as he was, the greatest conqueror as he was, he didn't conquer the whole world or destroy a kingdom in 1 hour. I mean, he did it fast. The scriptures say that as if his feet didn't touch the ground. All right, because he moved so swiftly, but he didn't do that in 1 hour. Well, the Lord finna take Babylon the greatest kingdom to ever exist, out in 1 hour. So referring back to the point, they didn't expect for us to wake up, man. You know, it literally took a miracle for us to wake up. And here it is. Now we wake up. So that's why there's such a great resistance. All right. That's the word. Such a great resistance when we call ourselves Israelites. But when we was calling ourselves the original man, even Egyptians, you know, they had no problem with that. We was calling ourselves Nubians and all these, you know, Hamitic so-called cultural titles. There was no resistance against that. Because why? Those gods have no power, man. You've seen what the God of Israel did to the Egyptians. Okay? Those gods are not the living gods. They have no power over our God. So they took the heritage. They chose the greatest God. All right. The so-called Jews chose the greatest God there is. You know, so that's why you can't choose this. You have to be part of the lineage. You have to be an Israelite, man. You have to have the spirit of an Israelite. Your line has to go back to Israel. Plain and simple. So what they have, they've chosen. They themselves have chosen, but it's a heritage that wasn't given unto them. You know, a heritage that they don't know much about. But going back to the point, man, it took a miracle for us to wake up, and now here it is, we have awakened, man, and it's a great awakening. And that's why so much resistance to when we call ourselves Israelites, man. They don't like that. Israel. You know, that's why they put so many stumbling blocks out there to rock our people to sleep. But what they notice now is that this truth has went out so much to the point, you know, we can't stop them from calling themselves Israelites, but what? We can keep them from being connected, because why? There's an Israel of Israel. There's an Israel of God, man. That's why scripture is saying Rome is not all Israel that is Israel, you know, roughly paraphrasing. So they pay certain people out, though we don't know the names, you know. That's a disconnection, man. You have no breath in you. You know, you got skin, and that's going back to the you got skin on you, but no breath was in them. Ezekiel 37. So they know they couldn't stop us from calling ourselves Israel, but that's why doctrine is so important, man. So the most important prophecy we're waiting on right now is the RFID chip, being the mark of the beast. Once you get that chip, you pretty much giving Esau ownership of you, man. It's going to pretty much disconnect you from the Heavenly Father, man. So what? You got a lot of most camps saying the RFID chip is not the mark of the beast. The RFID chip is the mark of the beast. I'm gonna repeat it again. The RFID chip is the mark of the beast. 3 times, like Yahushua did to Peter. Yeah, the RFID chip is the mark of the beast, man. So that's how they do it. But still, this Israel is waxing so much stronger and stronger. So now what they about to revert to is the demonization, then to get carnal and come at us with that great sword, man. Martial law. All this whole chipping, what? It's to chip the elect, man. That's Esau's main goal. We don't know who the elect is. So what? We just got to do mandatory chipping. Chipping, everybody has to be chipped. And what? And Esau's mentality behind that is to get that birthright back. He'll feel that the Most High would do away with Israel if he chip all of us. Okay? And he think he will get the birthright back. But he sold it. So that's why the Lord is going to lift up a standard against him in these times. Scripture say, when the enemy shall come as a flood, the Spirit of the Lord shall lift up a standard against him, because you're not going to be able to chip the elect, man. The Lord is going to stop you. Miracles are about to get ready to take place, man. Like nothing you people have ever seen before. That's why we keep working hard, daily exhortation, and trimming our lamps, man. Trimming the fat. And trying to stay in the spirit as much as possible, man. As we woke up, the miracle performed. As we woke up, well, what Esau think, all right, because what the blessing that Esau got, all right, is very powerful, man. It came from the left hand side of the Most High. So what? We gonna need spiritual weapons, and we gonna need the right hand side power of the Lord, which is Yahushua. He gonna come, but we gonna need a portion of that right hand side spirit, man. Because Esau, man, he received a great blessing of that sword, man. Look, prime example, he was able to take over the whole world with the sword, with violence, man. The weapon, his weapon. Had all the nations in fear. You think Esau, you know, took over the whole world by persuasion? You know? By persuading people with you know, no. He persuaded them with that sword, with that weapon, man. With his guns and missiles, his military. That's how he persuaded them. And that's the blessing he got, the sword. His great military. That's how he took over the whole world. All right? And how we gonna take over the whole world? With spiritual power. Power on the right hand side, Yahushua coming back. All right. The weapons of our warfare are not carnal. So we should have nothing to fear, man. Miracles are going to take place. You know, and that's pretty much all I want to say, man. They didn't consider it then, and they're not considering it now. The Lord is going to intervene. You know. So we have nothing to worry about. You know, keep the hope, keep the faith. Salvation draweth nigh. As the scripture say, our salvation is nearer than we believe. Okay? So let's stay strong and keep fighting, brothers. Until next time, I'll say shalom.